Derek, very good to see you. I love today's topic. Should couples retire together?
Mm.
Couples should carefully consider the financial and emotional consequences of retiring at the same time. So, you have 4 suggested questions they should walk through.
Yeah.
Number one, have you correctly calculated your cost of living in retirement? That's because 46% of older adults actually spend more money during their first few years of retirement than before retiring.
Yeah. And Erin, this is an absolutely true fact. One of the keys I think we've talked about in many of our videos is the first is if you're thinking about retirement soon, it's a great time to sit down and just start outlining your fixed
Right.
expenses and also that additional factor beyond fixed expenses, which changes during those first 2 years of retirement. A good example is if you and your spouse are working, both working at the time prior to retirement. In retirement, you are going to find the fact that Monday through Friday, you are going to have time for breakfast. You're going to have time to go out to lunch together. There is going to be afternoon time and morning time and dinner time. So we've seen it across the board, Erin, that um, expenses during those first 2 years are significantly higher until you start getting into a rhythm or a more set schedule in
Mhm.
retirement.
Mhm.
And planning for those 2 years of higher expenses, very important.
Right. It's like every day's vacation. I love it. All right.
It
Number
is.
two, when is the best time for each person to claim Social Security?
Yeah, Aaron, we've talked about this many times during Social Security conversations about
Mhm.
elections. It all depends if you're retiring together, if you're retiring separately. But one of those kind of rule of thumbs that always kind of stick with me in planning is um, if you have two Social Security benefits coming in to the household, the smaller of the two is what we call temporary income. It's only going to come in while both spouses are living. In the future, upon a first spouse passing, the larger of the two stays. So a simple rule of thumb would be trigger the smaller one early and try to maximize the later. So there's no perfect answer on Social Security benefits, but you definitely want to factor that into timing if you're retiring together or at separate dates.
Right. So many
Mhm.
permutations.
It
All right.
is.
Question number three. Do you feel ready to retire? The decision is not just a financial one, because as you're mentioning, if you retire at the same time, you're suddenly going to be spending a lot more time together.
Yeah, with a lot of free time, which is the difficult part. I have seen it, Aaron, across the board with some clients. Some clients are just geared up to be retired. Some clients are very hesitant to retire about what they're going to keep busy. We've seen clients get into philanthropy, getting into volunteering time, scheduling those vacations they want. It is a mental change. That's why, as we talked about in the earlier point, Aaron, is those first 2 years are a really good time that you're most likely going to overspend. And two, it's going to allow you some time to settle into processes and procedures or scheduling for retirement. So it is a mental hurdle. Some people do really well with it, and some it's a little bit of a challenge. So
Yeah. It's a big transition.
it
All right.
is.
Number four, perhaps most important, do you have a good retirement plan?
Yeah. Rule number one, I think
Mhm.
this should be is make sure you have a plan. We've talked about all the subjects that go into a plan in the first 3 bullets we just went through. The first, make sure we take a look at expenses. Make sure that you have the timing on Social Security, pensions, having the conversation with your advisor about what assets or investments you're going to use through those first few years or permanently. We talked about in other videos, Aaron, separating responsibilities of money, some to produce income, some to be slush funds, some to be emergency funds. So it all comes back to sitting down, having an outline plan. The plans are never going to be perfect, but having a good idea of where you're going and how you're going to get there, vitally important.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
many moving parts.
there
And
are.
Derek, I think what people really value is having this conversation with you
Mhm.
because it's so valuable. And if people are considering it, you should have it now rather than later. So if somebody wants to talk to you, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, they can reach out through the website at threeleaffinancial.com. They can reach us and Kelly here in the office for scheduling at 703-273-2326.
All right, perfect. Derek, thank
Yeah.
you.
Hey, thanks, Aaron. Have a great day.